Yo, 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 yo. What's up, good people? It's your boy. It's your boy. How are y'all doing today? Welcome to We Time Podcast, episode number 13, Investing in Yourself. I was looking forward to having a couple people on here today, but unfortunately, they were having some technical issues and somebody had to go ahead and postpone till the following week. So it's just me for right now. Hopefully our guest will tune in and be ready to give us some of his instructionals. Um, as you can see, it's episode 13, investing in yourself. Um, Investing in yourself is like the biggest thing you can do, man. I mean, with everything that's going on, health is wealth, and then mental health is right there with it. So I was actually hoping that King Kie was going to stop through, and he was out doing some family stuff, so I know his time was kind of restrained. So I'm hoping he'll pop in shortly. But we're gonna talk about investing, about stocks, and just reinventing yourself because he has a very incredible story, and I've been knowing him for a long time. I think I met him right when I moved to North Kansas City, 2011, 12, somewhere in there. And he was going by a different rapping moniker and stuff like that. So hopefully he'll pop in soon and we can go over that. But what I would like to do is I would like to go ahead and talk to you guys a little bit about this whole Jada thing. Oh, there he is. There he is. Hold on real quick. Let's bring him on in. Hello,
What's up?
sir. How you doing?
Good, good.
Welcome to We Time Podcast.
We turn this volume up. Hold on.
Yes,
All right.
sir. I appreciate you making time to school us in on investing. So the episode I basically said that it's investing in you, turning your outlook inward and creating a better you.
That's
So
right.
I wanted I would kind of went over a little bit of how we met, but let me go ahead and open it up to you, man. You know, just tell us about you, man.
Man, I'm a entrepreneur, hip hop artist, general, community advocate. They usually ask me, what am I not? I tell them I'm not one to be played with. I'm not one to do something that's not going to benefit us. I would say something like that. But I
Right,
pretty much
right.
anything, man, whatever's going to uplift or help us on the right direction, I'm on that.
Man, I just by you saying that, man, I just remembered. I forgot you had the garden going too, the community garden.
Yep. Hold on a second, spin my I gotta get this volume going.
Okay,
Not
okay.
coming through for some reason. Try something else. We gonna figure it out though. That's also what we do.
Yeah, 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 man. I know it's off the cuff, man. So you know it'd be like that sometimes.
Yep. Hold on. See if I got more volume through this other device here. Let's see.
So I was just telling everybody, you know, we've been knowing each other for years, man. I can't remember exactly when. I was thinking like around 2011 or 12 is when I ran into you. Yeah.
There we go.
All right. So you need to turn on your camera, or you just gonna use the computer for your audio stuff. You need to switch over to your computer camera. Excuse us, guys. You know, I'm trying to run this without my co-host Tish. She usually takes care of all the technical stuff, and I'm the support. So I've been running the podcast. This is the second week, and I'm trying to get everything together. Let's see. Let's mute that.
All right, this way.
All right. You need to turn your mic off on your computer if you're not going to use a computer as your. Hold on, real quick. You there? Hello, 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 hello. You gotta unmute your phone. There you go.
There you go. Bam. There you go. Bam. There you go. Bam.
Oh no.
Oh no.
Mm. You gotta turn your
You
speaker
gotta
off
turn your speaker off
on your phone. Or turn your volume down on your phone, and then you should be straight.
You good?
I believe so.
Good. I believe so.
No, it's an echo still. Turn the volume down on the computer.
Turn the volume down on the computer. Turn the volume down.
Oh, she's gonna kick my butt for this episode. I'm surprised she ain't in the chat yet. I know she listening. All right. You there? You get it?
Okay. Okay.
Oh no. You gotta turn it down lower. You need to go ahead and just jump over to your computer. Yeah, just go ahead and turn your camera on and your microphone on your computer, and we'll drop your phone, and we can continue this conversation, my good friend. All right. So going back to the story, I've been knowing King Kie for a grip. It's 2023 now. He has done a lot of stuff in the community, and I've had a chance to witness a lot of the things he's done. Um, like we were talking before about the community garden, which was real dope. The collective, which I was a part of, which was an experience because there was a bunch of guys that came together that would do poetry, rap, and it was just like a unification movement. And there were people of all backgrounds, all ethnicities. It wasn't just uh, a black thing, but we moved in solidarity, which was a great thing, especially back then, because man, I didn't know who or what I had going on with myself. I was just out here doing whatever, having a good time. Uh, some of the people that know me from the club days when I used to be out there, real hard DJ spinning, drinking 151 Malibu rum with a little hint of Sprite, Caribou Lose all day long. That would be my drink of choice, get the night started. And then I would just go in, I would get the party rolling, and I didn't have a care in the world. I didn't have any direction in life, man. It was a crazy time. So living that lifestyle and not really having any direction and being around the wrong people, it'll lead you down a slippery slope. And I was lucky to run into people like King Kie and Mana and them, King David. It was a lot of cool good guys that we did a lot. All right, you going back to the phone? What you doing? Up, up, up.
Yep, back to the phone.
All right.
Can you hear
You
me?
Yeah, you got your earpiece in. I can hear you fine now.
Okay.
All right.
Find
All
a
right.
way. Find a way.
There you go. There you go. There you go, man. I appreciate you figuring this thing out, man. Technology can be rough on you sometimes. Uh, so back to you, King. You know, tell us about you, man. Like, how did you become King Kie? You know, that's a powerful name. So you got
Actually,
you got to go ahead and explain it to us, man. So for those that don't
well,
know.
I came to be really from discovering who I am truly. A lot of times, other people or your environment will kind of dictate who you are
Mhm,
if you don't know who you are within yourself, if that makes sense. So I used to go by Dirt, Dirty D, a street name. Down to get dirty if I got to get dirty. You know what I mean? And make things
mhm,
happen. And it kind of get because I was, we didn't have a lot. We just kind of poverty, and we just found a way sometimes. Like if it was like to require hard work, found out a lot of people would kind of shy away from it.
mhm.
I would never shy away from it. I do what it takes, right, to get out of our situation.
Right.
And part of it, that's where the name came. Is like, man, I'm, I'm a, I'm a scrappy fella. You know what I mean? I will never give up. I'm built like that. So that's kind of where it came from. Because I get it out the dirt, I get it out the mud, do whatever it takes to make it happen. And it was actually I used to do poetry back in the day, 18th to Vine, and Mr. Glenn North. He was
Mhm,
like, man. He said, man, you got all these great things, you're saying, and it's coming out your mind and your spirit. He's like, but we just got to do something about your name. That's what he was saying, because he would have to introduce me.
uh-huh.
Yeah, it's like you walking into a building, everybody's all refined and elegant, and then you see me coming in just like, man, this
Gritty
has
and
got to be the
grimy.
roughest, grittiest, grimiest dude ever. But he's saying like, but the things that I'm speaking about, it was kind of hard for them to see it through that,
Mhm,
right? Which
mhm,
is actually, even people don't know, Dirty D it was an acronym, divine intervention relayed through you daily. Also, it was a filter to me. I use it as a filter. It was like, what's up?
mhm.
I'm Dirt. And people would be like, oh my goodness. They'd be repulsed by it. Then I'd
Right,
be
right.
like, cool. I was like, I don't even waste my time dealing with a person that ain't open minded enough to look past the surface of things. You wasn't deep enough for me to have a conversation with. That's how I felt, right?
Mhm,
But then I
mhm.
learned it also kind of closed off some opportunities at the same time. So
Right.
what I ended up doing was discovering more about myself. And really, a lot of people don't know, like, I'm really related to the monarchy in Hawaii, in the kingdom of Hawaii,
Mhm,
and my name is Kie Manu, right? And what it means is God's armor. That's my
mhm.
actual, Hawaiian name. So when I started tapping into the cultural side of me, and I was like, okay, it started making sense. Like, hey, regardless of how they view me, it's coming from the dirt or whatever. I'm really a king, and it's just within. It ain't just me. A lot of us had a capability to be kings and queens, but if you name yourself something, in a sense, you are kind of speaking that unto yourself at the same time, and
Mhm.
that's kind of where the transformation began. I started learning to kind of invest in myself, in my own thoughts, in my own how I perceive myself, versus how everybody else perceive me, and that's kind of how the evolution began for the name Kinkie.
Wow.
Yeah,
So, you said that, you started changing you had, the inner looking on yourself. So what was the turning point? What was the defining moment that made you just say, like, I'm thinking wrong?
just really just honesty. I think a lot of people they think it, but they don't follow through. I would say
Mhm,
on a self. Man, even the person in like the most disenfranchised environment, I know he has certain thoughts because I'm from the same, you know what I mean, same place. But a
mhm,
lot of them don't act upon it because, for one, they don't know how. Two, peer pressure, right? There's the environment, so they don't think they can be bigger than their environment sometimes, and then
Mhm.
so they get subjugated to that and just kind of submerge themselves like, well, this is nah, man, like I start thinking different. I started changing my outlook. Man, I was in a big coming in some very rough situations in life, right? Such
Mhm.
and such as being homeless. I'll go to that chapter.
Mhm.
So when I was homeless, I got to see a lot. I got to see what people say and then what they do. Then I got to
Mhm.
see the common perception, or we had these cliche sayings in life, like when your back's against the wall and all that. I got to see a lot of people's character, and also what affected their character, and where they made a decision from. And a lot of it, I would think, is one is fear. Is a lot of fear. I think people live with
Mhm.
fear more than they even realize sometimes.
Right.
Because, and then I learned, like, what are you really afraid of? And
Mm.
also learned the aspect of self-preservation.
Right.
Because on one end, it's not really a selfish thing to have self-preservation. I don't believe that, because it's the same thing. Like if you're in an airplane, what they tell you to do in the airplane when the
Take care
mask
of
come down,
yourself first.
take care of yourself first. And that's really the basic, the grounds for self-preservation. So it was tough maneuvering through that, and watching people that say they will help you, and then they wouldn't, but then also they said they would, but sometimes they couldn't. And you
Mm.
have to balance that out, because, like, okay, you can't, because you taking this mask off the airplane. You know what I mean? You gotta give yourself air.
Mm.
But it was good for me because it gave me the true insight, also the discernment to be like, okay, that's why that person, he want to but kind of can't, because if I do that, it's gonna mess up. You know what
What
I'm
you got? What
saying?
they got going on? So,
Correct.
I mean, when you're going through things, man, I mean,
Hmm.
you said you dealt with homelessness. I mean, it's hard to not be bitter when people say that they will help you,
Man,
and then when it's like, just call me if you need something, and when you make that
when you need
call,
them and you call
eh,
them,
yeah, they
yeah,
they didn't.
yeah,
So I myself, I know I've been in situations where people said that they had my back, and they didn't answer the call. So what was it that you did to not be bitter or have that resentment towards those people? You know,
that's a
because
great question, man.
in that
That's a great
moment,
question.
all you
Yeah,
see is
you're right.
the mountain.
You're right, man. Really, honestly, I looked at life. If I got a basic principle. I said, look, man, you out here by yourself. Ultimately, at the end of the day, nobody could die for you. So why should anybody live for you? And when I was in this situation, or various situations, the same, man. Me, myself, and God. That's all you got.
Mm,
Sometimes it's just ain't nobody else. And then when you look at everything on the planet, man, it's so true that nobody can live for you. They can't die for you. So you got to lean on yourself and make these decisions for yourself sometimes. And really all the time. Even if you don't view it that way, it's kind of what it is. We like live in a interdependent society. We still
mhm,
depend on each other for aspects, but at
mhm,
the end of the day, it's really up to you. Like, for example, education.
mhm,
You have teachers, you have mentors. Say you go to school, you're in a classroom. There's 50 people in the classroom, right? The teacher's saying the same message, but it's up to the particular student to actually take that message in and apply it.
mm.
It's the same thing, but that student has to invest in themselves for that message. They have to filter through that message, right? And if
Right.
it's on them to do that. But a lot of times you'll see people be like, "Hey, we galvanized for you," or "We did this for you," which kind of doesn't make sense, because it's like, okay, did you do that for that one particular person, or did you do that for that classroom?
Mm.
You ever been in that situation where somebody like, hey, I put you on, or something like that?
Yeah, yeah,
But
yeah.
regardless of, even then, you had to look at the person to see if he was worthy to put on. You don't just put anybody, can't use your name for a job referral.
Right, right.
Same type of deal. So sometimes people do that. To me, that's a difference between selfishness and like self-preservation, right?
Mm.
Because it's like, on one end, you want everybody in the classroom to be successful, but does that mean the people in the classroom want to be successful for themselves?
Right.
So That's
Yeah, I
kind of how I
mean,
looked at it with the resentment piece because I ain't gonna lie, part of it, it's hard not to be bitter sometimes when you like, man, you know what I mean? Like flesh and blood too, man. Come on,
that's always the worst, man, when it's flesh
it
and
is.
blood.
It hit you harder there, but
Yeah,
it's like,
yeah.
but but it's cool at the same time because it's like, all right, what are you really made of?
Mhm.
You really as tough as you think you are or say you are sometimes, and you never know till life hits you. You know what I mean?
Right, right.
Life hit different. Life
Life hits different. It hits real
different.
different when you in need. So, I mean, you brought up a good point though, with it being the classroom and everybody learning, and they had to take the knowledge and make the most of it. But a lot of times, we procrastinate and self sabotage. Being disenfranchised, as you stated before, it,
Yeah.
it it becomes like that blanket statement. Well, you had more than I had, and it just seems like we don't want to, achieve higher than what we see in our neighborhoods. So, what was the things that you had to do to overcome that? Because, you I know more aspects of the story we won't go into detail about, but it's just like how do you get out of that mud, man? You get out of that muck.
I
Yeah.
think is the truth. The truth will get you out of it. So there's some truth to the truth will set you free, right? So like
Mhm.
I give an example of I remember we was like on food stamps and then these these other people was on food stamps.
Mhm.
And then it's funny because we'll watch like you'd be like, man, I got these shoes. You ain't got no, you know what I mean? I'm like, hold on a second, man. We both really like poor as hell out here. Sorry for
Right,
cutting.
right.
And
You
we
good,
talking
you good.
about I'm not as poor as, but we still really poor.
Right, right.
And then so when you start looking at that aspect and you look at I would say the bigger picture, then
Mhm.
you'll be like, okay, is that really relevant?
Mm.
Like we had a conversation the other day. Shout out Joey Sunday talking about somebody steps on your shoes
Right.
and you spend your whole life savings, you know what I mean, to save up $300.
Mhm.
It took you like 4 years to save it up. And then you go purchase these shoes.
Mhm.
And if somebody steps on your shoes, man, you don't know it, but that's kind of disrespectful because you don't know the work, the time, the energy, everything spent just to get
Those
the
shoes.
shoes. And it's
Mhm.
not necessarily the shoes, it's the work and effort for that goal. Like you set yourself out to attain the goal and then you accomplish that goal. But a lot of people don't know what you got to do to accomplish the goal. So it's kind of in one sense, it's disrespectful to the person that accomplished that goal. If you just step on it, like, okay, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
But for the other person, that's not the intent sometimes.
Right,
So
right.
like, but when you start getting more financially stable and you're like, oh man, you want $300 shoe? Cool, just go get them, right?
Mhm.
The conversation changes because oh, that's cool. Why? Because you're in a position, you're stable enough. You're like, oh, I can get some more.
Right.
But at the same time, just when you look at the investment piece, it's an interesting dynamic because do you appreciate something you put work in for versus not? And not
Mhm.
saying you didn't put work in for to get to that position, but what are you really valuing, right? Is it
Right.
the values or the values, like the values more moralistically or the value of you doing the things you did, gritting and grinding to get there? So
Mhm.
one of the ways I looked at that too is I would say there's a lot of people that have invented things in life.
Mhm.
These great men, great women in history, right? And I was looked at our leaders coming up like, who do we look up to? I'm gonna ask you, DJ Spin, who was somebody that you look up to as like an iconic person or a person of influence, historical figure that you would look up to?
I mean, I'll be honest with you, bro. Like, I never really had a lot of people that I just like expired for growing up. It was just like my dad was like the dude, when I was little. It's like he was super tall. Shoot, he was 6'5", I think. And when he would come in the house, he had to kind of stoop down and, come into the door type situation. So, when I was little, I didn't know anything about why my dad and my mom was separated type situation. But, when I would see him, it's like I knew McDonald's was on his way. You know? So I mean, that's what who I related to when I was younger, man. Like when I got older, I started looking, at my Pastor Eddie Stanley, because he was like that stand up guy. It's like it didn't matter what was going on, he never lost his cool, and he just showed me, how to have that poise and then how to carry myself as a man. Because in the hood, you don't really get too many examples on how to carry yourself. So,
That's right.
he taught me how to be cool and not show my hand, because he's like, young man, you got to understand how to control yourself. You can't be out here just doing everything all willy nilly. Like, you know,
Woo.
we would just had those conversations. We work on a car, and we just had those talks, man. Racking a wrench. So it was just more or less like the people that were in my life, immediate, versus like anybody else out there historically.
But what he did was historical too, man. I think. Well, I looked at the greats, and I did look at the people around me too, right? Because I believe the
Mm-hmm.
people around me are great,
Mm-hmm.
and sometimes we get that skewed. I think because like you can look around the people within your closest circle or within like 1 degree, right, separation. Like there's probably a lot of people around you right now as doing prolific and great things, but they're not necessarily like they're not giving their flowers per se because they're not on the same platform
Mm-hmm.
as a million other people that had the same influence.
Right.
So it allowed me to look between the scenes of that too. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? And then I seen the certain characteristics that like all of them possessed, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the characteristic I seen about all great leaders, all great people is they really just believed in themselves. Because even the pastor, I mean, you seen the environment he's in. Think about the people or the stories that man probably got. He in the church. That's where you go, you know what I mean, to get your spiritual healing, man. There's a lot of things that go on, man.
Mm-hmm.
And to know in his position the things he probably had to have some
See,
wisdom and discernment
yeah,
to,
yeah.
you know what I mean? And some things he went through just for being successful. Like just imagine, you know, I don't know him personally, but I can imagine like, man, this dude probably got hated on, got a lot of envy.
Mm-hmm.
People wouldn't agree with his decisions, wouldn't, you know what I mean? And these things, but he still stayed, he believed in himself. He believed in the vision he had of himself and what he should be and do. Same thing with your father, right? Came in, hey, I'm gonna get my boy some McDonald's. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like
yeah, yeah,
that
yeah.
same type of thing. But how many people do you think go through life and then they tell them no, they can't do something or they can't achieve something? And then I ask them how many people really tell those same people that they can do
Mm-hmm.
something or can achieve something. So
Man.
I would say the turning point for me was I really just said I'm not gonna listen. They could say no. I can't tell them they can't say no to me. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? I'll take a million no's. I don't care. I was like, why? Because I'm still gonna say yes. Just
Mm-hmm.
because they can't see that it's possible, that don't mean it's not possible.
That's true.
You know, like the saying Audrey Hepburn, like the word "impossible" isn't impossible.
Mm.
It's
So at
true.
the so at the end of the day, the only person that really needs to believe in it is you,
Correct.
the power of you. So it's incredible that you bring that situation up, man, because I think everybody needs to have that one moment, that one moment of somebody just showing them that, hey, you can do it,
That's
showing them
right.
something different. And I tell this story to a lot of people, man, but I remember when I used to stay in the hood. I used to live off of 18th in New Jersey over in KCK. And that's where I was born and raised. Man, I thought that was gonna be all I seen was that neighborhood. I thought we was gonna live in that house, 1723 New Jersey forever. You know, me and my mom. That was my thought process, man. It's like I didn't even like going out to eat, you know, because my mom's cooking. I was like, Mom was cooking. You can't be mama cooking,
There's some
you
truth to
know.
that, though.
You
There's some
know,
truth to
you
that.
can't be mama's cooking. Everybody like, hey, let's go out to eat. Let's go to Applebee's. Set that up, butter, poo whoop. Nah, man, I eat mama's cooking. I'm straight, you know?
Yeah.
And it was a Saturday morning, man, and the pastor's wife actually called and she's like, young man, what are you doing today? I'm like, nothing. She's like, you know what, you gonna come with me? I'm like, okay. So she's
And you
like,
gotta go.
yeah, like okay, tell her no. So Man, she came and picked me up, and we ended up going out to Excelsior Springs. It's like out there. Is that Excelsior or Bonner Springs? Bonner Springs out in Kansas. So we went out to Bonner, and it was right when they started building out there, all the new houses out there by the racetrack. You know, and I never been in a new house. I didn't know houses was new, man. All I know is like, people move in the house been there for all the time. Like my mind frame was like this.
Yeah.
It was like
It's like
this.
houses. They
Also,
got stairs. There's
man, I was
stairs of
so narrow
houses.
minded, bro. Like when I was younger, dog, I was just the hood was all I knew. I wasn't out there, selling nothing, but I knew a lot of people that did. I hung around them, and it was like, hey, bro, I'll front you. I was like, nah, I'm good. I don't know nothing about that. I ain't, I was still square bear, So
I'm a square bear now, man.
so she took me out there, man, and we looking at these houses, and I started looking at these floor plans, and so I was like, man, I started learning what a reverse story house is, and understanding, what's going on here, and I'm like, bro, this is incredible. I was like, but in my mind, I'm like, I cannot fathom myself having one of these or being in this area, and it
Man,
was, there where she met me right there, and she was like, young man, you can have this too. So you telling me
yeah,
I had the opportunity to be here. And that's when,
man,
things kind of changed for me because I started looking at it because I never knew a new house. And then I started like the jobs I started getting, I was working in new subdivisions and I was always around the newest technologies and all this and this. I started looking at things like, so what did you do to get here?
damn,
I started asking questions, man. I was like, bro, I kid you not. My evolution, bro, I went from working from Time Warner, and one homie jumped over to work at Google, and I was paying like $4 more than what I was getting paid. And only working Monday through Friday. I was like, all right, bet. I want to do that. So we started doing that. I was like, all right, bet. I'm gonna do that. And then I'm out working, working, working. And like nobody else should be on the job sites. And I seen this lady, she's out there with an iPad looking all official on the side of the house that I just came out of working for Google. I'm like, what are you doing, lady? She's like, I'm doing an inspection. It's like, oh, really? What are you expecting? She's like, I'm inspecting the outside plant, all the stuff they put in. I was like, oh, really? So what all you gotta do to do that? So how much money you get paid to do that? Oh, you get paid $5 more than that? How do I sign up?
that's it. That's
And
it.
bro, that was it, bro. It's like it started being an evolution, dog. And like now when people look at me, they're like, Dave, what do you do? I'm like, man, I'm an outside plant engineer. It's like, did you go to college for that? No.
Nope.
It's like, how did you get the job? It's like, well,
Working,
working, working, bro. It was just like it was like it was
showing up.
crazy. Yeah, it was crazy how it happened, man. I'm still dumbfounded at how I ended up where I am right now because man, God opened that one up because I got a call out of nowhere. It's like, hey, we seen your resume. It's like old resume too. It's like we seen your resume and we think you'd be a good candidate for this job. And I'm like, I'm always hoping for more money. If you talking more money, hey, I'll be ready to jump ship real quick. Make it worth my while. Make it. I told him every time a recruiter would call me, I said, make it make sense.
That's
and
it.
then
People, a
and
lot
then
of
they
people don't even know what a recruiter really do. I had to learn that. You go to
well,
a staffing agency and they just gonna find you a job. And I was like, hold on. What is a recruiter and what does he do?
right,
I still have
right,
conversation with people. I'm like, man, what he do is really help you find your whatever you trying to do anyway.
right,
You just
right.
gotta let them know what you want to do. And it that was another thing too. Like I said, asking the questions. Because I asked the
What's up,
recruit
Mike?
like, what is a recruiter? I didn't know. You know,
Right,
I'm in
right.
a similar boat, man. I want to tell you the story too about I used to work like 3, 4 jobs, us islanders, they tell you, oh man, you Jamaican, man. You over they tell me that
Hmm.
because I was, find a way to get it. But when I started educating myself more, I was like, man, sometimes you look at back at hindsight, like, man, I should have just done this instead. You know what I mean?
Right,
Like,
right, right,
I was like, so you telling me if I work more than 40 hours, you gonna pay me, time and a half? They
right.
said, yeah. I was like, I started doing the math. I said, man, I'm working about 200 hours a week already. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? But I was like, man, I'm actually taking the loss.
Hmm.
So I had to learn like how you do things too. It's just as important as doing things. Like
Right,
like
right.
your situation, like you didn't have to go to college route. Not
Hmm.
everybody has to. I'm not against college, because some people need it, and some people that's I don't honestly think it's for everybody, but I think
Right.
education is for everybody. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? But
I
like,
mean, you
not
have to be
everybody learn the
educated.
same.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you have to be educated and know what's in your wheelhouse, because if you got a passion for something, or it's just something that you can flow in, go for it. You may be stopping yourself from being able to get out there earlier because you're taking the college route, and you might cost yourself a lot of money for you to fall back and find out like I really didn't even need that. You know,
yeah,
not
you
not
right.
everybody needs it. Like you said, it's good. It's good for some and not for others. I just happen to be one of the ones that life experiences just kind of added up and total. The ROI finally came in.
That's it. That hard work, them paid off.
Right, right, right. What's up, Mike? You got something to say on this conversation, man? I know Mike. I worked with him at one job, and he ended up flourishing there, like right when I was on my way out, because it was bad situation. We was in two different departments, but yeah, it looked like it worked out pretty good for him. So I'm happy it worked
That's
out for
good.
him. Yeah. Yeah, so let's talk about this investing stuff, man.
Hmm.
Let's learn a little bit about that, because we've been kind of grazing over our backstories and stuff like that, which is cool and stuff. But let's talk about this financial literacy that you are starting to roll out, man. Because we had a conversation about it, man. I appreciate all the time and effort to get those concepts in my mind, but let the people out there know how to get it right. Yes, like Mike said, show him the money. So
Hey,
how do we do this? How do we make this
how
work?
you get the money?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Number one, man, is education. That's
Okay.
to me number one rule because I go back. Like I said, being homeless was a pivotal time for me, and like Mike, probably in a bad situation and flourish from it.
Hmm.
And to flourish from a bad situation, that takes you investing in yourself.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So that's beautiful to see that. So you can probably relate to that. So when I was in these situations, it forced me to think different, forced
Hmm.
me to see things different. Like the pastor's wife put you in a different situation, which allows you to see something different.
Hmm.
So same thing when you look at money, you might need to look at it different. Everybody look at money,
Right.
but how are you looking at money? You know
Mm.
what I mean? And when you start changing those concepts, it'll help you. So what I did, I had a lot of time to think too, which was a benefit of being homeless. I was like, man, I'm kind of free. Like, well, I was like, I don't need to pay no bills. I was like, what utilities I got? What mortgage I got to deal with? What they gonna tax me? I ain't. What are we talking about? And then I got to see the system. It gave me a
Hmm.
different perspective of that system. And then I thought long and hard. I was like, hey man, I was like, what do the richest people in the world do? Like, what do they do? And I'm like, they're not better than me. That's how I felt, right? Just even though I was in that position, they
Right.
just have knowledge or they know something I don't, and then they apply it. That's
Hmm.
really how I looked at it to simplify it. So I started looking. I said, man, I'll ask you, what do you when you see the richest people in the world, what do they do? What do you think they do? You can even ask Mike, what do you think they do?
Yeah. Me myself, man. I know for a fact they just have knowledge. They're privy to knowledge, because I would listen to like whenever I went to one of the corporate parties or anything like that, or when I went to I worked at a car lot and I would listen to the sales managers talk, and the conversation was different. You know,
Mm-hmm.
they would talk about, hey, did you hear about this play? Or, I got a little bit of money going here, my returns. And those are just hearing money go somewhere and getting a return. We didn't know anything about that because we didn't have extra money to give out like that.
No,
Then the other thing, bro, that blew my mind is like I said, I used to work for Time Warner, and I was out working in Wrist Lake, and man, I never forget this daggum house. Big old house, beautiful house, right? And it was a white lady in there. She was like, "Yeah, my cable's out, man. I don't know what's going on." As soon as I opened the door up, man, what is that smell, bro? That big beautiful house, man. She had her dogs in there. They was taking craps all over in the living room floor. And I'm
what?
just like, yeah, 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 man. And I'm like, dude, it's just like, yeah, you gotta go downstairs. That's where everything is. I go down there, man, sewers backed up and stuff like that. And I'm just like thinking to myself, I was like, you have this big old house. I could only dream of living in a house like this. I could only imagine the amount of money it takes for this house to function. And you just got dogs just defecating all over it. You got toilet paper floating downstairs. And I'm just like, I live better than this, you know? So just like you said, they're no better than you. It's just that the situation that they had was totally different, you know?
That's it.
And that was one of those pivotal moments for me because it's like my outlook changed because I'm just looking at her like, the hell is wrong with you, lady? You know? And I was like, if I had a house like this with one or two of the rooms, I would be happy. I would be content. But now my older age, I'm like, bro, I could have like two, three of them houses, here and there in a couple different states, and then have a penthouse over here, just because my mind, my outlook has changed, my perspective has changed on it. But
That's it.
there, like you said, they're no better than you. They're no better than you.
Correct.
It's just they understand what money really is, and money is just a tool,
That's it.
and money's not evil. It's like money can't do nothing on its own. It's like just like a hammer. A hammer can't hammer a nail by itself. It's got to be in
Nope.
the hand of a man for it to do anything. So
That's
just like
it.
that with money, you just got to understand that when it's in your hand, you got to use it for what it's needed to be used for. And
Yep.
that's the perspective that a lot of people they fail to understand. They rather chase money, or they say they want to make money, but the money
Hmm.
is making them. They got the cart before the horse, and that's what it really
Right.
boils down to.
That's
But
right.
hey, what do I know? You're the one that's supposed to be talking about this stuff. This is your TED talk, sir.
But we do know, and that's the thing. Like, but do we apply the knowledge that we do know?
No,
I
that
I give an example, a real easy example.
mhm,
Because I deal with, I'm pretty good at stocks. We deal with stocks, right?
mhm,
And when COVID hit, I just watched the world. They have this saying. They say, "Hey, when it's high, you sell it, and when it's low, you buy it." Just the
mhm,
basic principles of stocks, right?
mhm,
And when I watched COVID hit, I say maybe like 1% of the population stayed true to that.
mhm,
Everybody, they was selling every. I just watched them. I said, okay, and they're like selling, 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 selling. I waited. It dropped. I was like, well, you know what I mean? This
mhm.
is the time to buy it. But these are basic principles everybody knows, and they don't apply it. You watch them not apply it, man, because like you're saying, the I think people have an emotional attachment to the money, and that's what impacts a lot of their decisions too. For
Right.
example, I seen this video circulating about Jay-Z. Not what was it, like 4,800? He wouldn't loan.
Yeah,
Was
to
his
his
uncle
cousin.
or friend or something? Yeah,
Yeah.
he wouldn't even loan it, and everybody's like, "Oh man, that's bad." I was like, "Nah, I kind of feel him." You know what I mean? Because I'm like, I probably wouldn't loan $5 to somebody I know. is not going to use it the right way, or you know what I mean, and just blow it off, or does it have a real tangible idea of how money works? Because then it'd be a waste. Like
Mm-hmm.
even in the Bible, they say you don't throw pearls to swine, right?
Mm-hmm.
So then it's like part of that comes with the knowledge, and you got to use the discernment. Like, hey man, is this is this money going to be used to amplify something good or not? Because like you're saying, with the
Right.
hammer can build a house, you also destroy a house.
That's
So
true.
same thing with
That's true.
money. Like when you utilize the money, even as a philanthropist, right? Like, are you is this really going to help or not? These are some of the things we think about with money, but that's when you get money.
Mm-hmm.
Because when you don't got money, you think about any which way to
To
get
get
money.
to
And
it.
I would challenge a lot of people to ask them, did you get that money in a legit manner?
Mm.
You
And
know what I'm saying?
I think what you just said, man, you got me stuttering over here because you said some profound things because the thought process changes a lot of times with people when they have money. It's like when
Yep.
there is no need and you have a abundance, there's no need to make a reckless or quick decision. But when
Correct.
there is a deficit and your whole mind frame changes because now you're in survival mode, it's like, I have to get this. I have to make this happen. I have to push this. And when you start doing this, you start making mistakes and you start melting down and having issues on the back end. Uh,
Yep.
I've done it plenty of times. And, your the way you value the money itself changes too
It does.
because you look at the money like, this right here came easy. So I can get rid of it easily.
Yep.
I ain't got to worry about it that much. But the stuff that you grind hard for, you're like, man, I got to hold on to it, you know? But you should
But
hold
that's
on
a
to you should hold on to everything when you can because you don't know when you're gonna have a season of lack. You know, you go
uh,
ahead that
to
old
an extent.
to
I
an
would say to
extent.
an extent.
But you know
Because
that old saying that says make hay while the sun is up,
yep,
It's like you
that's right.
do it while you can because you never know, if you're gonna go down or some type of experience is gonna happen where or situations is gonna happen where you're not able to go ahead and move or make those decisions like you've been making when it was easier for you to gain it, you know.
Yeah, absolutely right. Another thing, like I like the fact you said the panic sets in.
Hmm.
You like you said, dealing with the sales manager at the car lot. You probably seen them panic before. If they don't
Hmm.
make a quota or certain objective, you see the panic set in. They're like, oh no, you know what I mean?
Hmm.
But when somebody, I would say, such as yourself, like it's a beautiful thing, the smile now, cry later deal,
Hmm.
cry now, laugh later. When you didn't have nothing, and then you watch them panic sometime, I sit there and smile because I'm like, man, you know what I mean? Like we had nothing. Like, and then you panic, watch people panic that have something.
Hmm.
It's like, but then they make the irrational decisions. A lot of times that irrational decision is based on because they don't fully, they invested in the money that they didn't invest in themselves.
Hmm.
Because if you invest in yourself, you'll know like I'll be all right. I know how to go get it. I know how to grind. I know how to find a way. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? But if those say like the lady with the house, say she got in a situation, I don't know her whole story, right? She
Yeah.
probably panicked. She probably be quick to panic, like, hey, I'm gonna lose all this. But do you know how to acquire it back?
Right.
Do you know what it took to get it to begin with? Same thing we talk about with the shoes, the emotional attachment with that. Are you
Hmm.
valuing the money or valuing yourself and the work that you put in? Because really at the end of the day, it's like if you say experience is the equivalent to money, right? And then you put a lot of experience into your own life,
Hmm.
it should translate to you getting more money. You know what I mean? If you invest in yourself with the tools and the knowledge and things of that nature to help you get more money, you're gonna get more money. You can
Hmm.
do the same thing with building a house. What does a guy like a carpenter invest in? Better tools,
Better tools.
better tools. So when you look at dealing with money, why wouldn't you invest in better tools?
Mm.
And those tools would be for you to 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 apply the knowledge on with the money. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
People go seminars And they offer classes, financial literacy courses, all types of things. You can see it all over. How many people really invest in that versus investing in something that probably doesn't have the same intrinsic value? You know what I mean?
Right.
And that's something, I would challenge the people to kind of understand that concept. So like with money, what really changed me a lot, and this is a funny story. When you're homeless, man, you get hungry, you're gonna find a way to eat. Because
Mm.
there's like three things in life you gotta have. One of them's food. Like you think you hungry, go ahead, don't eat for you. I mean, there's the different levels of hungry. How you gonna eat?
Mm.
So I had a guy, one of the grills show me, went to a garden. That's why I do a lot of the farming. It taught me more than I think I learned a lot from gardening and farming. The first thing I learned was patience. Because I think a lot of us, that come up in the hood or whatever, the thing we lack is patience.
Mm.
You don't have the patience to watch something grow, so everything's instant gratification, which leads to what? Reckless decisions and things of that nature, which I believe is a huge issue. You know what I mean? For a lot of the youth, they never get that chance to really learn patience.
Mm.
And when you start learning patience, you're like, okay, you know what I mean? It changes your outlook of growth. Same thing with money. They call it maturity. It's kind of ironic. And
Mm.
does your money mature? How does your money mature? With patience. Patience is how the money matures. Now, say you put your money in something, and then 6 months later, like a basic CD, hey, it's 5%. You know what I mean? You put your money in there, boom,
Mm.
got $100, right? You be like, man, that's not a lot of money, man. 5% of $100, all right? That's $5. Go ahead and put $1 million in. What's 5% of that? The conversation changed, but
Mm.
the principle don't change.
Right.
Then I tell the same people, okay, put your $100 in a savings account. How much they gonna give you? You ain't, well, maybe a penny. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
So why wouldn't you put that same penny or that same amount of money somewhere else is gonna give you more?
Right.
That's how the money work. Make the money work for you, right? Say you working for the money so much. These are
Mm.
basic principles, but I actually learned that from farming. You put a
Mm.
seed in the ground, and then you grow a tomato plant. How many
Mm.
tomatoes is gonna be on that tomato plant? You put
Yeah.
one seed in the ground.
Mm.
Now think about that. You put one apple seed, and then you have an apple tree, and that bug can still produce an apple hundreds of years later.
Mm.
And
Yeah.
the apple seed costs 1 penny.
Mm.
You can make millions of dollars off that one apple tree.
Mm.
That's crazy. That's how I seen it because I was picking all these peppers, right? And I was like, hold on, man, these peppers cost in the store. You know what I mean? I was like,
Mm.
these like bell peppers. I was like, man, these things be $1 sometime. I'm
Right.
like, this
Right.
is just money. We growing money. When they ask me if money growing trees, I say yeah.
Yeah.
I say yeah, it does. A lot of people say no. I was like, nah, it does. If you know how to use the tree, if you know
Mm.
how to use the money. But that's investing in yourself and changing your perception
And
of
also
money.
finding the
Changing your
value.
correct.
Finding
And what's the
value.
real value? The
Mm.
value is in the thought process. Because there's nothing more valuable on the planet than an idea.
Mm.
Look at what we're talking through right now. This medium right here. We're talking through
Mm.
these devices. Somebody, whoever made the device, I guarantee somebody told them no. Now you can't create the internet.
Right.
We on the internet.
Better yet, when they said you're not going to be able to conversate with people in different households and to be able to see them at the same time, like you're not going to be able to do that like a phone call.
Doing it right now.
Yeah.
Doing it right. So that's what I'm saying. But whoever did these things, these great inventions, that's what I was saying earlier. Like they believed in themselves. I
Hmm.
guarantee you, somebody. Now imagine the people out there right now that got brilliant ideas, just brilliant. It hasn't been created yet, but they can see it. They have the vision. They believe it's possible.
Hmm.
And look at the challenges they're going through. They probably getting told every corner, nah, this ain't possible. This ain't possible. Even Elon, yeah, Elon Musk, man.
Hmm.
I mean, he's a character, right? But at the same time, There's electric vehicles right now.
Yeah. It's
I mean,
a lot of electric vehicles.
right now. And then there was a time nobody thought, so what make you think we can't do something else too? That's the
Yeah.
thing. That's the power of believing in yourself.
Mm, man, that's incredible right there. That right there alone. That whole idea of believing in yourself.
Yep.
Mm, mm, mm. Well, man, I really appreciate you taking out the time to come on the podcast. We had a little problem with technical difficulties earlier, but we you were able to get through that, make it happen. Uh, why don't you tell the people, man, how they can get a hold of you to learn a little bit more about the stocks, man? If you want to go ahead and share that information.
Yep. King Kihei, KingKihei. I'm on all social medias, but I've got a platform for it on Facebook called King's Advice, and that's a good way to contact me there. I do one-on-one sessions with folks. The reason being because I like because everybody learns different, but also I like to teach in a different format. Not a non-traditional format. I would say because I used to be licensed. A lot of people don't know in the Series 663. And these are licensed to be a licensed broker and to teach a lot of the things I'm teaching. And the reason I let them know I'm not licensed anymore. The reason I'm not licensed is because when you really go to the test and everything, there's a section for that for compliance where it does not allow me to give certain information because of liability purposes, right? But it's all laid out. I said, man, I'd rather educate my people on this knowledge because I think if I educate them on that, it'll help them really in their life make better decisions. You know what I mean? With their money, help them start achieving their goals. Who knows, man? You might have the next inventor on your show right here, and then he gets that knowledge and is able to apply it. Boom. You know what I mean? He can invest in himself and make these things happen when the rest of the world tells you can't sometimes. So I like I'm a big proponent of financial literacy. I think it would help disenfranchised communities significantly. I know it helped me, right? I know the lessons of it can help other people, and that's really the goal, right? Each one teach one to help
Mhm.
uplift the people. But I can be contacted social media. It's the best way to get me. King Kihei. Check out some music, cause sometimes in there you're gonna hear some wisdom sprinkled in there about the money as well. But really, just investing in yourself and believing in yourself.
That's what's up, man. That's what's up. I really appreciate that. Again, this is the We Time podcast every Tuesday at 7 p.m. Usually with your host, Miss Kayani, Tish Kayani, which she's recovering from surgery, and DJ Spin I am. We are available on streaming platforms like Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, and a couple of other ones I can't think of right now because I got it streaming on some other platforms because I'm learning how to just kick this thing all over the place. And we got one more person that popped up. Thank you for we need to see our people in a successful position besides being the next rapper. Then
I agree.
for the knowledge. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, sister. I appreciate you coming in here and saying that. I was wondering if she was gonna pop up. Uh so King, you got anything that you want to go ahead and sign us off with, man? Any mantras or something special from the motherland?
From the motherland. Not really, man. I think I covered it. Believe in yourself. Learn to say yes to yourself when everybody else tells you no.
Mm. Learn to
That's what I'm
say
gonna say.
yes to yourself when everybody else tells you no. Man, with that
Yep.
being said, man, we'll leave you with that. Y'all have a blessed night. We'll see you again next week. Peace. Stay on the
I'll
line, boy.